Hi. In today's video, we're going to take a look at a nighttime street photo with some long exposure light trails. So it's an interesting photo. I love it just the way it is, but I think we can make it just a little bit better using Luminar AI and some of the tools inside. So please join me. We'll take a look at it. Hi, my name is William Beem. If this is your first time here, welcome. I like to teach what I can about Luminar AI and some other software tools for photographers. And today, I think we've got a really interesting one, and it's kind of featuring Luminar AI. If you don't have Luminar AI, there's a coupon code below in the description. You can use the coupon code BEAM, just like my last name, and it'll save you some money. And there's some other coupon codes down there for different photography products. So please go ahead, make sure you check out the description of this video. Why don't we go ahead and get started, and we'll take a look at today's photo. One of the things that attracted me for this particular scene is the contrast, the color contrast really between the sky over here and these light trails below. So you can tell like there's like a larger vehicle that's gone through here. So we've got light trails not only below where the headlights are coming in, but also up above here where like this is a truck or a bus or something that's come by. We've got a nice little bit of flare coming from this light. But what really gets me is that we've got a lot of opportunities for contrast of different types. So I want to work with that just a little bit. The place I usually start is with composition AI. I think our composition is fine. I'm not going to try and do any perspective correction over here because the way this was shot with a wide angle lens, I think we're going to lose a lot of the photograph. And it's not going to look quite right if I really correct it as if it were an architectural shot. And that wasn't really the point of the shot. It wasn't about the architecture. So let's go back to our next stop, which would be Enhance AI. We'll bring up the Accent AI and see if that helps at all. It's getting a bit brighter, it's getting a bit contrast, but other than that, it's not doing a lot for us. And the Sky Enhancer AI really isn't doing much for us either. So honestly, I'm going to skip the Enhancer AI altogether. Here's what my idea is. I want to enhance some of the tonal contrast here. I want to enhance some of the color contrast here and maybe do one or two finishing touches. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with those details and those objectives in mind. I want to take a look at Structure AI and just bring this up and see what it does for me. And it's making some moves here. You can definitely tell there's some contrast in here. Honestly, it's not quite what I'm looking for. And I'm afraid if I boost this too much, I'm going to end up with kind of like a cartoony HDR look. It's kind of like that. So this is not the tool that I want to use either. I'm going to go ahead and reset that. And I'm going to come over here to the Pro tab instead. And I'm going to work with Super Contrast. And I like to start off with midtones. So let me just bring this up. And I'm seeing two things. One, I'm seeing the contrast in the buildings. Also, I'm seeing the colors change. And we're getting color contrast between the blue in the sky and also over here down below. And the next thing I want to do is take a look at the midtones balance. So I can come over here and lighten it up, or I can come over here and darken it up. I think I kind of like this one a little bit darker. I'm going to go up to the highlights contrast and bring this up just a bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to check either side for the balance. And I'm kind of liking a little bit of highlights balance moving to the left. What I'm worried about are these light trails down here at the bottom. If I bring this over too far, you can see how that kind of blows out right away. So I don't want to necessarily blow it out, but I do want to get just a little bit more balance that way. I could bring up some shadow contrast. I don't think I really need too much because that's going to brighten up the sky, and that's not really what I'm looking for. Matter of fact, I think I want to change that sky completely. So we're going to go over here to the Creative tab. I'm going to go over to Sky AI, and I'm going to select one of my own skies. And I've got a number of storm skies. I'm going to select this one, Storm Chasing 7. I'm going to open it up. And I want to get some lightning action going on here. Now you can see there's a lightning bolt back here, but that's a little bit too low. I kind of want to bring things up here. So I'm going to move my horizon position to probably about 46. That looks good right there. And so we've got some lightning going on behind the buildings. It almost looks like it's striking the top of this building and coming over here to this antenna. And I'm going to leave that just the way it is. I could try to relight the scene a little bit. And I'm actually like this one. We'll put a bit more emphasis on the lightning bolt. So I'm going to leave that. And the other thing I could do is come down here to look at the sky temperature. So I'm going to go ahead and cool that off just a little bit more. And let me look at the exposure to see if that does anything I want. I do kind of like the idea of darkening the sky, but I think I'm going to leave the sky exposure alone and then just close out the sky AI. The next thing that I want to do, though, is do a little bit of toning. And this one is pretty simple. You've got your highlights, your shadows, and your balance. So let's start with the highlights. And I've got my highlights really down here. I want to warm those up. In order to do that, I have to bring up the saturation a little bit so I can get the hue to go where I want to. I'm going to come in here with some yellows right about there. And I'm going to bring up the saturation just a bit. Let's go down to the shadows. I'm looking over here. I kind of like this bluish, purplish saturation. So let me bring that up. And I'm going to move this hue way over here. Not quite magenta, maybe an indigo color. And I'm going to bring up the saturation a little bit. So we've really changed this photo so far. Let's take a look at before and after. So there's where we started. And like I said, I really like this photo to begin with. But I think we've kind of brought out a bit more as far as a little bit more energy with the lightning bolts that were going on here and a bit more color contrast between the sky and below. Now, I mentioned that I wanted to do some final moves. I'm going to come over here to Mystical, and I'm just going to bring this up probably around 20 or so. The reason why I'm keeping it kind of low is I'm looking at the top of this building and the top of this building, any place where we've got those bright lights. I'm afraid if I bring this over too much, I'm going to create a very soft and dreamy look, but I'm also going to kind of lose a lot of detail here, and this is going to turn into something that's glowing a bit too much. So I think this is one of those occasions where less is more. I'm going to bring it around 20. Then I want to take a look at my shadows and see what happens if I darken those down or if I open them up. Thinking I'm probably going to leave those where they were. So at 25, it's kind of a nice thing. Now the smoothness, you notice that you've got options over here. So we can pull this all the way up. We can move this all the way down. I'm getting more detail when I pull the smoothness down. So I don't want to lose everything we've done, but I'm going to pull this down probably about 80. And let me turn this particular Mystical feature off and back on. So there's where we were before Mystical. And it's not a lot. It's a very subtle thing, but I think it really kind of brings out the photo the way it is. The last thing I could do is come down here using the colorize tools. I could change the saturation. I could bring it down. And to me, that would waste a lot of the work I've already done. I could bring it up just a little bit more. And do I want it cooler or do I want it warmer? I really love the cool colors of the clouds. I love the warm colors here. Let's see what happens if I cool it down a little bit. And then if I warm it up a bit. I think if I warm it up, this is getting too orange. It's not really working the way I want to. I'm liking just taking a little of the warmth away. All right, so let's go back and take a look at our before and after. So this is the original photo that we had. And this is with the edits I've made using Luminar AI. So let me ask you a question. If you had this photo to work with, what would you do with it? Would you replace the sky? Would you put the lightning or something dramatic in there? Would you put a sunset back there? What about as far as the color contrast between the very cool color in the sky and the clouds and what I've done to warm up everything down here? Or would you go in a different direction? And also, what do you think about the contrast of the buildings? I'm looking at this one over here and it doesn't come out that much, but I think on my photos, I don't really want the edges typically to be the center of attention. I kind of want my center of attention over here. I could bring this out a little bit more. So we could come down here and do local masking. We can do basic. And let's say that we did a radial mask. And we decided that we wanted to make this building our centerpiece. And we add just a little bit of exposure. And it's probably too much exposure. I'm going to bring this back down a little bit, maybe to like 0.5. This is what the scene looked like before I added this radial mask. And let's go ahead and turn it back on. And I think I like that. I think I like having this building just a little bit brighter. I think it brings it out and kind of gives us a subject to have inside the photograph. So I'm going to leave this as our finishing touch. And that's what we've got to deal with today. Thank you for giving me a little bit of your time and attention today. I really appreciate it. If you liked this photo, if you liked what I did with the video instruction, please go ahead, click the like button. Also, if you really liked it, go ahead, share it with a friend, see what they would say about it too. I'd love to have their comments below answering the questions I posed earlier. I would love it if you would subscribe. And if you do, please go ahead and make sure you click that little bell notification icon. That way you'll get a notice when a future video comes out from the channel. Thanks so much. We'll see you again next time.